Hello everybody. So today I want to talk about Genmab. So Genmab is a stock I covered a few months ago. I own the stock, a small position for me. They reported their earnings and the earnings were good. The market was excited and you can see the stock has ran, almost 14% in a matter of a few days because the earnings were good and we had a very nice outlook. Worth mentioning, they achieved 31% total revenue growth over the past 12 months. They have $3 billion of cash. They are doing a buyback, $500 million of it, and their operating profit margin is very high at 26%. You know, I tend to use EBITDA margin. EBITDA margin is even higher at 35%. Now, what the market's very happy about is the guidance. I'm happy about that too. You can see their guidance was $3.66 billion for 2025. Why do I use $3.66 billion and not $3.5 billion mid-level? While I think this is a sandbagging company. They've sandbagged before. They achieved 31% this year. They guided nowhere near that, and so I'm going to use their higher number on guidance and on operating profit because I think they are setting themselves up for a beat, because there is no reason to give the market a very accurate guidance because this stock is trading in the gutters. So might as well be conservative, because indeed it's trading cheap is what this stock is. I think some of it has to do with the fact that the stock is located in Denmark. You know, my thesis on Denmark stocks is that there's going to be some geopolitical tension with Denmark, and maybe some of the stocks there may be sold off. I don't know. Hopefully it's just speculation. I may be entirely wrong. But when I look at the number, I'm okay because it's 0.18. How much am I paying for that growth? It's 0.18. So it's cheap. It's especially cheap for a stock that has an EBITDA margin of 35%. Their gross margin is 96%, still 96%, because a large amount of their revenue is commercialized through big pharma companies and they earn royalties. I expect this number to drop as they ramp their own commercialization products. They're going to commercialize their own products. There's two big ones, and I expect that number to go a little lower, but not that much lower, but probably around the 80%. 96%, you don't stay this high for long unless you're a royalty company, which is what they've been substantially until now. And the last one, the rule of 40, is 57. So it's excellent. It's almost 50% higher than the rule of 40. This is excellent. But what is the most excellent about this company is the field. In my view, this is the only pure play antibody. Yeah, you have other companies that do antibody on the side, but this is the pure play antibody cancer treatment company. And so what do they do? By the way, these are their owned pipelines. These are the pipelines where they didn't sell royalties. You'll see at the end of the video, I'll show them their older products where they earn royalties. But this is their wholly owned pipeline. And you can see they have two products that have had some sort of regulatory approval. They're trying to expand regulatory approval for both Epkinly and Tivdak. These are the two main drivers of growth in the coming decade, less than a decade. But in the coming 5 years, it's going to be the bigger amount of growth, and you can see it's approved, so it's making money now. And then, as any pharma companies, you have clinical trials that are in different phases. You can see 2 of them in phase 3, 2 of them in phase 2. So this is very good. But every time you move a phase, the odds are that you don't get approved, right? But they passed phase 1. Phase 1 is the riskiest. Phase 2 is a little less risky. Phase 3 is the least risky. And typically, these companies, whenever they achieve a phase, you see a reset in valuation, although I doubt that for Genmab because it's been really disliked by the market. What do they do very quickly? They have an antibody platform. They're specialists in antibody. They have a GeoBody, an Hexamer. They have 3 types. If you look at my introductory video for Genmab that I did 3 months ago, I go through the different types. But they are a designer of antibodies. Antibodies, of course, they are these Y-shaped components that stick to cells. It's part of the immune system, and they use these antibodies to trick the cancer cells. And so they can trick the cancer cells in 2 ways. They can just pierce the cancer cell and deliver a medication to kill the cancer cell, or they can simply trick the cancer cell into committing suicide. So it sticks to the cell and provides an instruction to the cell, or it sticks to the cell and provides a potent medication to the cell. This is, in a nutshell, how antibody therapies work. And of course, they're a big trend in cancer care. And it seems to me like it's one of the future ways that we treat cancer. It's very unfortunate that cancer is still treated the same way since the 50s with chemotherapy, which is a very, very potent treatment, but also a very inexpensive one, which is why most health systems require that you go through the 70-year-old technique before they will start reimbursing these issues, which is something the CEO has called out. I've watched many examples of the CEO calling out saying, well, you can do chemo and you can also do my next gen therapy in addition to chemo. So let's go for two of their products. Epkinly, they're very positive over the long term. This is in order of potential. So the potential for Epkinly by around 2030, that potential is 3 billion a year in sales. So they have a potential quote unquote blockbuster drug potential of 3 billion of sale on Epkinly alone. And of course, the current revenue, by the way, is 2.99 billion for all of their other businesses. Epkinly weighs essentially nothing in the business for now. This is a treatment for lymphoma. Lymphoma is a cancer of the lymph nodes, and these are the lymph nodes. This is part of your immune system, so the spleen, the tonsils. So lymphoma, it's not the most common cancer, but it's common enough that unfortunately you could achieve a 3 billion thing. But if you look at this, it's FDA approved, of course, for lymphoma, for two types of lymphoma, but it's after you didn't respond to 2 prior treatments. So this is the regulator saying, okay, well, this is a great treatment, but it's expensive, so we're really gonna give it only to people whose easy, long time established chemotherapy treatment has not worked. We're first going to do with the well-established chemotherapy, and then we're going to give them the more advanced treatment. Of course, they say it's because of side effects and stuff like that. But come on, chemotherapy has the most side effects ever, and I think much of the reason is the cost. And if you listen to the CEO is like, they wish that this treatment was approved for earlier lines of defense, and that's what they're doing. They're working to get it approved earlier in the timeline of cancer. Right, and so if you look at, I lost my track here. Yeah, they're trying to get it approved earlier in the timeline of cancer. Let me move on to the next treatment I want to cover here. The next treatment is Tivdak. So Tivdak is approved. That's for cervical cancer. And so for cervical cancer, they also it's approved for people who have received chemotherapy that did not work or is no longer working. So again, this is a second line of treatment. This is not approved as a first line of treatment because they first want to go through the chemo, and if the chemo doesn't work, then you may get eligible for Tivdak, which is the antibody treatment for cancer. This Tivdak product, it works the way I was talking about, which is mediated killing, antibody mediated killing. So what it does is it's got a charge, and so the antibody will stick to the tumor cell, and then it will deliver the charge inside the tumor cell, and the charge kills the tumor cell. So it's slightly different than apoptosis, but this is kind of how it works. And again, this product is growing fast, 45% year-over-year growth, and part of the trials that we're doing again is to try to make it move up in the order, and try to make it move up and be a first line of treatment, not necessarily a second line of treatment. Of note, Tivdak is not approved in Europe and Japan yet. It may be approved in the future, and so that would also create some explosive growth. And then they have other types of treatments. They have Rina-S, so this is in phase 3. So they're hoping to get the results of phase 3 very soon. This is a more advanced ovarian cancer treatment, and that's a $2 billion opportunity. Still working with antibodies to treat these more advanced stage cancer, and that's a $2 billion opportunity in 2030. So they got a lot of opportunities. This is just a few that they outline. A note on the partnership business. So this is the products that are already successful commercially. Kesimpta is 64% year over year. Darzalex 19% year over year. 70% year over year with Tecvayli. And so these, they have distributors, they have partnerships, they distribute with big pharma. And so this is mostly royalty revenue for them. And you can see the sales are very high, but they only get royalty royalties out of this, which explains some of the gross margin being so high. So let me sum up. Right, so we have a company with a pipeline of drugs for cancer treatment and anticipated timing. You can see a lot is going to happen in 2025 and after 2025. We also have a plan to deliver operating profit of 1.36 billion. And I use 1.36 billion because I think they are sandbagging. We have a buyback. We have a stock who's buying back shares, $500 million off a buyback. We have a long-term 2030 vision, and I covered this into my prior video, but you can see they hope to not only increase their sales via their partnership for existing products, they hope to, of course, launch their own products and be successful with the 2 products that they already launched for lymphoma and for cervical cancer. And they have this platform, this antibody platform, which allows them to develop more and more antibody-based cancer drugs. And so I see a lot of catalysts until 2030 for a company like this. Let's assume they do a 1.35 billion in operating profit in 2025 based on today's enterprise value, which I outlined here at 11 billion because they have 3 billion of cash on the balance sheet. So based on today's enterprise value over operating profit is a multiple of 8 times. You know, I prefer to use EBITDA usually, but this time we're going higher up and we're using an operating profit. Anyways, it's cheap. 8 times is cheap, especially for a company predicted to grow sales next 12 months. Sales growth is predicted to be at 22%. That is based on the higher number of a guidance. They have a credible long-term plan and they have a buyback. So I like this stock. I own this stock. I own the stock. I'm happy to own it. I like it. It's a long-term hold. I view this stock as a sleep well at night stock. If there is some turmoil with Greenland and Denmark and tariffs of some kind, I'll just sleep on it and just wait until the turmoil is over, because that would be temporary. I think this is a great company, and I like it a lot for my portfolio and my portfolio alone, because this is not investment advice. This is not financial advice. This is just entertainment. I'm hoping you were entertained. Please like, please subscribe, please follow me on Patreon, please follow me on X, please comment. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful, wonderful day.